Hello Infiniteers, and welcome back to Zootopia. If you watched my documentary on the making of this toy box, then you may recall that I have two versions of my Zootopia toy box. There was my original version, which included Tundra Town and the Rainforest District, and there was the final version, which I showed in the playthrough video in episode 1. And so far, I have built the part of the toy box that is common to both versions. And today I'm going to show you how to build the remainder of this toy box from the final version. Or at least I'm going to start on it today, and we'll finish it next time. Now, if this is not the version of the toy box that you want to build, then you can wait for the Tundra Town build episode, which should air next week. Or depending on when you're watching this, you may be able to just skip ahead a couple of episodes in the playlist. And my goal today is to place the terrain for this side of the toy box and lay out the rest of the streets and build the extension for Sahara Square. And you may again be wondering, why would I build this version and not the other version that has Tundra Town and the Rainforest District? Well, if you're on a system with less memory, like a Wii U or a computer without quite as much memory as other platforms, then you really need this this smaller version, which doesn't have all the extra districts, because the logic for this is going to take up a lot of memory. All right, it's not difficult logic. When we get there, you'll see, but there's a lot of it. And so again, if you're going to build the other part of Zootopia, just wait until we get to that point. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and build this. And because I had to take Tundra Town and the Rainforest District out, I had to have these roads go somewhere. And I had to put something over here. And so what we're going to do today, I'm going to lay down the road, and then we're going to extend Sahara Square over into this corner of the toy box. And next time, we're going to extend the downtown area into that corner of the toy box. But for today, let's go ahead and get started. And first thing I want to do is extend the terrain out. So let's pick this piece of terrain up and put it down. We're going to put two of those out like this. And then go to the next size bigger. We're going to tuck this into that corner just like that. And put a row of those all the way down to the end. And there is the base terrain now for the rest of the toy box in the final version that I showed in the playthrough. Alright, and let's start filling that in now. And to save a little bit of memory, I chose to put in some cliffs around the side here. And it also gives you something a little bit different to look at when you're over here in Sahara Square. If you remember in the videos I showed last time, there were a couple of canyons and things that some of the screenshots showed. So I wanted to try to capture the feel of that. So let's put this small terrain block up here. And we're going to change the theme on this. And the theme that I want to use is Sands of Agrabah. Okay, that comes from this power disc, which you see here. It's from 2.0. It's part of the Aladdin Toy Box pack, or I think you can get it on eBay by itself. And if you do not have this power disc, you could use Carburetor County. That would work too. But I'm going to use Sands of Agrabah because it's a power disc and I paid for it and I want to use it. So we're going to set that to be our theme. And then we'll pick this piece up once again and put it down. We're going to come over here and we're going to drop 3 of these. And let me pull up my screen grab here just to make sure I get all of this correct. Alright, so then we'll scroll over to the left to the cliff pieces. We're going to use this large cliff, put this on the end so that it doesn't look flat and boring. We want to put some detail on here. Put 2 of these in, followed by the cliff corner. And then we'll put one, I think there's 2 of these total. Yes. and then the narrow cliff ledge. And so that gives you a little bit of a feel of a canyon as you come down through here. And it just looks good. I like that. All right, now let's extend the roads. And so we'll pick up this piece of road and put that down, and we need to fill in the rest of the roads here in this part of the toy box. We'll start with this long racetrack. And again, I've themed these to use the Zootopia theme, and I talked, I think back in episode 2 about your alternatives for this if you don't have the Zootopia power discs. But I really like it because it really does give this toy box a unique feel. All right, we'll put the turn in here. Oh, and while we're right here, we need another one of those down on this end anyway, so let's put that in. All right. And then since we're down here, why don't we build from this direction? So we're going to put two little very short pieces in here just as kind of spacers. And a long. That gets us to this intersection here. We can pick up our intersection, put that back, slide this over here, and then we need a piece of a track to connect that to that road. I think the medium is what will do that. Yep. And then we'll connect that on down there, and I think this racetrack piece will fit there. Alright, so that gives us our road around the remainder of the toy box and through this area. So that's good. Next, let's continue this wall over here, this barrier between Sahara Square and Savannah Central. So we'll pick this up and put it back. And make sure I get this right. Okay, so we're going to come over 1, 2, and we're going to move this over like that, such that you can place one of these in here. And I've again styled the basic blocks using the Agrabah Bazaar stucco like I showed you last time. Alright. And then we'll build another archway over this road. This just serves as a nice way to delineate the boundary between Sahara Square and the downtown area. So I like that. And there we go. Okay, so that's going to set the rest of this apart. Now, what we'll do is let's pick this piece up, put it back. That gets us to the Agrabah building pieces. We're going to come over here and place this first one right there, because we have to build some things on this side of the street. Since we now have this side of the street, we'll place another one of these over here, like that. And let's add a little detail onto this building here. And I'm using this to save memory, but if you're afraid it might look too much like that building over there, you could use this one if you'd rather, just to have something different on this side. But I'm going to save memory by using that one, and I don't think players are really going to be too bothered with it, because this street does look different than this one. Okay, so now we have those. On this side of the street, let's go down to the plants drawer. And I think it's fantasy terrain strip 1 actually. I can't remember from last time. And again, let's style this to use the Zootopia theme. Nope, that's the wrong one, but that's okay. We're going to use this piece anyway. So I'm going to pick this up, and we're just going to slide this back up here, just to have something there to fill that little gap. And the one we really want here is this one. And again, I talked about alternatives to both of these pieces in previous episodes, so I'm not going to go over that again here. And this just kind of makes this look interesting on this side, and I like the look of that. And then down on that side, we'll put another one of these buildings. And put that in there like that. All right, I like that. That's coming together nicely. And we're doing really well on time today, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in a little bit more over on this side before we get to the downtown building, so we can focus all our time next time on those skyscrapers that are going to take a little effort to build. And then we'll come back at the end of the episode and I'll add some detail in there. All right, so let's go to these buildings. I'll pick this one up and put it back. That gets us to building sets group 3 and the Main Street USA buildings. And we'll grab this one here. We're going to come over and place it like you see there. And then we'll put this one next to that. And this one next to that. And on the other side of the road, we'll grab this one. Swing this around. Put this one back about like this. Try to use some different buildings over here. And we'll use this one again just because I like it. And we'll use that one. We don't want to make this side of the street look identical to that one, so I put this one down a little ways from that one. You don't want this street to be a mirror of the other side of the street. Okay, and that looks pretty good. All right, at this point, I think what I will do is go offline and add some detail in here. And when I'm done, I'll come back and show you what I have, and we'll wrap this up. A little bit shorter episode today. Okay, I am back, and I've added in the necessary decorations and things. So let me show you what I have. Oh, and by the way, there's one I forgot to show you last time, and that is this little awning that I placed over the store. This is from Building Sets Group 2. I don't know if anybody noticed that, and noticed that I forgot to cover that, but there you go. All right, so these lampposts we had placed last time, as well as this tree. And now that we know where the cliff is, I added in this piece here and put it up as close as I could get to the cliff. And again, we're going to style this with the Zootopia theme. And I talked about alternatives for that in a previous episode. I will come back to this piece. This one we've placed here. Once again, this will be the Zootopia theme. And I talked about alternatives for that. Now we placed this piece earlier. I put another one right here. You can see how that's centered on that doorway and in this empty area here. And I also placed these pieces of plant clusters here. And notice where the little flowers are placed on that. This will be the Zootopia theme, and this will be the Zootopia theme. That gives us those nice details. All right, I added in this little pipe climb from Building Sets Group 2. And I also put one on the back side of this building over here, which we had put down in a previous episode. And behind here I put this little dumpster. This is from the decorations drawer. That sits in there like that. On top of the shop over here, we added this little ice cream sign, again out of Building Sets Group 2. And then I placed all of the lights. So let me show you where those go. You can note the seam on the road. That'll help you place those. We placed the traffic lights over here. And I placed a couple of street lights over here, about halfway between those traffic signals. And I think that's it. Everything else you saw me put down. We put down that awning, and we put down a lot of other stuff. If you want, you could add some things up here, some pieces of terrain or plant clusters to make this look a little bit less flat. But you do have those rocks along the top, and so I don't think it's really necessary. Certainly if you're on a system with less memory and you're building this, you don't want to use too much memory up there. Now for this piece, what I want to do ideally is I want to use the Victor's Experiments terrain theme power disc, which you see here. And we're going to style this with that theme to give us these telephone poles. This is going to correspond to one of the phrases out of the text displayer. If you do not have that power disc, then you do not have telephone poles, because that's the only telephone poles we have. And so in that case, you could use a different phrase out of the text displayer when we get to the logic. And you could place a boulder here, similar to the one that I did over in Savannah Central. Like, for example, this one. Or you could use a piece of terrain that looks like a boulder and place that there. You can kind of browse through the terrain drawer. Another alternative, there's another phrase in the text displayer called chimney. So if you wanted to, you could add a chimney over here to the side of this building. You can find some of those in Building Sets Group 4 with the Fantasyland pieces. And that would work. Anything basically that you can use one of those three from the text displayer phrases to have an object to bring the player over here when they have to decipher that clue. We just want something to guide the player over to that corner. And there we go. There's the extended version of Sahara Square that is now in the final version of my toy box. And I think that's a good stopping point for today. Next time I'll finish building the rest of this version of Zootopia, and I'm going to show you how to construct some very interesting buildings for this area. I think you're probably going to enjoy that, so be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. Also, before you go, leave a comment and let me know what you think of this build, and if you're planning to build this version of Zootopia, or wait for the original version with all 4 districts. That's all for me today. See you next time.